Sachin Sahwalke is depositing his weekly savings. He runs a small business in Chandhare village in western Maharashtra and opened his first ever bank account 3 years back when government-owned Maharashtra Grameen Bank set up this new branch in the village. In the last 3 years, nearly 1,000 villagers have opened bank accounts in this branch, many for the first time. Sahwalke now also borrows money from the same bank.
I used to borrow from money lenders in my village, and because of that, the amount I paid as interest was very high. But from the time I have started borrowing from the bank, this cost has gone down substantially. My business has improved, and I am also getting other benefits from the bank.
More than half of India's 1.2 billion population is without a bank account, and most of these citizens reside in villages. Now, government-run banks are trying to open more branches in rural areas like this one, but there are still many villages across the country that do not have access to basic financial services. India's central bank plans to issue a number of licenses to permit companies to set up new banks. And to make sure that financial inclusion gets a big push, it will be mandatory for banks to open a quarter of their branches in unbanked areas. Many experts believe that this could make the task difficult for companies that are interested in entering the sector.
The guideline reads 25% of the branches in rural areas with population less than 10,000, and also the area should be a non-banked area, unbanked area. Is very challenging. But if you look at those players who have rural presence, who provide products and services in rural areas, for them it will be less challenging compared to many others.
The country's banking sector was opened for private companies in 1991 when the Indian economy was liberalized. Since then, a flurry of private players have entered the sector and have changed the banking landscape. But despite the massive growth, 5 out of 6 villages in India do not have access to banking facilities.
25% branches in unbanked areas clearly will not address the issue of 500,000 villages that are not unbanked. So I think financial inclusion plans going forward will have to depend on alternate technology, business correspondence, card and biometric or mobile and PIN kind of payment systems.
Earlier this year, the Indian government launched its ambitious direct cash transfer scheme, under which it will transfer social security funds directly into bank accounts of lower income families. For the scheme to be successful, the government has asked financial institutes to open bank accounts in rural areas. Policymakers feel that this move will give a huge impetus to financial inclusion in the country. But the big test will be execution of the plan on the ground.